it like been getting to know Phil? I mean, what are your first impressions of him been as a coach and as a person?
It's been really great. He's not, you guys have talked to him a lot. He's a very talkative guy. At first, when you first meet him, what comes across is how much he knows about football and how much he cares about the game and cares about his former players and then his current players. So I really have gotten to enjoy getting to know Coach Longo, both personally as a coach, and it's been great. But he really cares about what he's doing, and so his passion shows every day when he shows up to work, and it's been great to experience that.
How familiar were you with his background before he got here?
I didn't know too much about Coach Longo. Obviously, his track record speaks for itself at Ole Miss, at UNC, not only with the unbelievable players he's coached, but the success he's had on field. I didn't know him personally as a coach very much, but once he was hired, he was here pretty soon afterwards, and I met with him pretty early on, and from the first time I talked to him, I knew that he was going to be a really good coach for us, and I was really excited to get to work with him.
It just brings kind of the way you have grasped the offense. What's been your process kind of getting hold of the offense and what's been that like?
Yeah, it's always a process whenever you start learning a new offense. Everyone learns it kind of differently, but just taking it one step at a time. We started as a group with mostly like the drop back passes. Well, we started with formations, most of the shifts, like that kind of thing. Just get the fundamentals down, and then went on to some drop back passing game and slowly incorporated the run game. But really, just taking it piece by piece is the way that I handled it the best. Just kind of learning things on the fly, picking up whatever Coach Longo says, and really being dialed in meetings. He's really preached that terminology is really important for us. Whether it's quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, we all have to be on the same page with what we're saying. So one thing that's been important for me has been really writing down as much as possible in meetings. Everything he says for the most part, especially the first couple of weeks, I was writing down everything he was saying, just to try and get a grasp of what he wants for us to be communicating to other players and what he's going to be communicating to us. And so starting with that, it really builds on itself. And once you get the basics in, you can really start to add little gadgets here and there in every play and intricacies to the offense throughout the process. It's not too bad of a process.
How different has this been from what you've done in the college?
So for me, I've actually had, in high school, I had quite a few head coaches, and obviously last year we had some coaching changes as well. So I came in last year in the summer and had to kind of learn that offense quickly. And so it's not been too much different. I had a little bit more time last year, given that I committed in the spring and was coming in, and I started getting my feet wet a little bit earlier on. But at the end of the day, learning an offense is pretty similar. Obviously, every offense is going to be different, but the basics are going to be pretty similar. About your process to learning is going to be the same, whether you're learning pro style offense that we learned last year, the area that we're learning this year. So it's been similar, but obviously learning the intricacies.
I don't know if you think this way at all, but most of these quarterbacks were brought in by the new staff. You're one of the two in the old staff. I think you're the only walk-on among the group.
Right.
What were your goals coming into the spring, and are you surprised at all where you are? Because Phil made it sound quite clear that there's a pecking order. There's 18 and you, and he talked about your knowledge of the offense and how you performed on the practice field.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what to expect. Obviously, when you get the news, or throughout winter break, I was getting the news that people were committing. We had 3 commits. But really, when there's 2 ways to go. You can kind of take that as a sign, like, oh, they're bringing in people, they want me out, or you can take it as like, okay, they're bringing in people to compete. And I kind of took it that way. I said to myself, look, like, this is an opportunity, not only to get better, but at the end of the day, what's going to be best for this program? Whoever's going to play is going to be who competes the best, who does the best throughout spring ball. So why not compete every day? And so far, that's kind of how it's worked out. Just taking it every day individually, not trying to get too far ahead of myself. It's easy to, as a player, as a person, to look ahead in the future really far. You can see, oh, what's going to happen next fall? What's going to happen towards the end of my career, like 4 years from here? And so when you start doing that, it starts getting confusing. But if you're just able to take stuff day by day, live in the moment, and really just come in ready to work every single day in the facility and compete. That's kind of the only way I thought to approach it. And so to answer your question, I didn't really worry about it too much.
Okay.
I mean, I knew what I was facing when I committed here as a walk-on. Like, I knew I was going to be an uphill battle regardless.
Yeah.
So bringing in extra talent, obviously, it's been fun to compete. But that's all that I saw it as, was competition. Just one more step that I could compete with.
To follow up on that, in a way, do you have to tell yourself, I don't care what their resumes are of the guys, I have to believe I'm just as good as them, or I can be just as good?
Absolutely, and I mean, a lot of that stems from confidence in myself.
Okay.
And I know that they all come from different backgrounds, a lot of them having had a lot of success. And honestly, that excites me, because if I can prove then that I can compete with them, then it just is more confidence for myself. And so I think that so far it's been a great process getting to know everyone. We've had a really good group in the quarterback room. We've been slowly but surely getting to know each other a lot better. And honestly, it's been an enjoyable process, because I have been able to kind of take it step by step and not get too far ahead. So
You talk about just staying focused on the task at hand, not thinking about the future. How
Right.
challenging is that, and how do you kind of make yourself do that?
it is challenging. I mean, I think it's in kind of human nature to get ahead of yourself and start looking forward to the future. And so being able to kind of just, especially when, I mean, like you said, 3 people came in, Nick, Braden, and Tanner came in. All of them came in as very successful quarterbacks in their own right. And so it's very easy to just be like, look, this my future is going to be hindered by all these guys coming in. But to stay in the moment, it's a process. It's something I had to learn to do, and I think that my high school experience actually helped me do that. Not with recruiting, there's so many ups and downs, and if you let yourself get too caught up in all of it and just thinking about the end goal, you're never going to end up having as much success in the present. So it's been a process to get to that point where you can just focus on the here and now. But I think I've gotten pretty adept at it. I've adapted well to just taking every day individually, and I think I'll continue to be able to do that pretty well.
You were talking about taking a lot of notes. Do you go home at night and look at the Virginia class in some ways, and is that a good comparison where you're
Absolutely, yeah, and it's just like you said, it's outside of the meeting room is almost just as important as inside the meeting room. You can put everything down on paper, but until you're able to internalize it and understand it, whether it's in your own words or whatever it might be, that's the most important part, is going back home, understanding it, and not just knowing what it is, but truly understanding what the goals of what we're trying to do are on each play, on each drive, whatever it might be. So yes, just like you said, it's a lot of time individually, spending a lot of time watching film from North Carolina, from Ole Miss, in addition to just learning what we're learning in the meeting room.
You mentioned your high school recruitment and what you kind of had to learn during that. But how would you describe that process? Because if I can remember, it was kind of affected by COVID a little bit and just different factors. How would you describe that process?
Yeah, my high school recruitment was a bit crazy. So I had, at high school in Los Angeles, I had 4 head coaches in 4 years. Constant turmoil in the leadership positions at that school. And then with COVID, I was going into my senior year, and then with Los Angeles' COVID restrictions, we didn't really have a senior season. So I decided to take a postgraduate year. And frankly, like I was saying, there were so many times throughout that process where I had no idea where I was going to end up, and it worried me, and I was constantly thinking about it. But at the end of the day, you have some blind faith that things are going to work out. And so once I got to my postgraduate school, I had a great coach that was able to help me both on the field and off the field, recruiting-wise, more than anyone I've had in my past. And so that was really helpful, and really kind of helped focus my recruiting efforts, my personal recruiting efforts, where I was putting my time and effort and attention to the right places, and really ended up helping me get to where I am today.
How many different offers did you have, if many? I mean, what were your
Yeah, so I had a scholarship offer from Eastern Illinois, which I was really grateful for, because they had a great history of quarterback success in the past with Garoppolo and Romo, and Sean Payton went there. So I was really grateful for that offer. But ultimately, I saw myself going to a school that challenged me really academically and athletically as much as possible. And so I thought that while Eastern Illinois was an unbelievable option, I felt I would be better suited at a bigger school. And I also, along with Eastern Illinois, I had Davidson as well. And then I had preferred walk-ons from Penn State, Miami, Minnesota, Rutgers. And I mean, a lot of those aren't like formal like offers, but if you want to come play here, we would have a spot for you. Be excited for you to come play here. So a lot of different schools, a lot of Big Ten schools as well. Ultimately, once I came and got on campus here, I knew this is where I wanted to be, and I knew that the culture of the program and the school really aligned with what I wanted.